Breaking news here on Saints Now. The New Orleans Saints have finalized their initial 53-man roster. They, of course, had to get the roster down to 53 today. And I say initial because there's still some moves that could happen. Players could be claimed off waivers. But for now, this is the 53-man roster for the Saints. And before we get into it, go down and subscribe because we're keeping you in the loop with all Saints news. When breaking news happens, we get you guys a video ASAP. Go down, subscribe to the channel to stay in the loop with all things Saints. Before we get into the cuts and the 53-man roster, I do want to mention this because DA spoke about the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade. Here's what Dennis Allen said. I want to say this. I want to say that it was not an easy decision. I love Chauncey. He's been a big part of what we've been able to do here, specifically defensively. He's a big part of the organization for the last 3 years. We certainly wish him the best. We wouldn't have done it if we didn't feel extremely confident in the group that we have. We feel like the defensive backfield is one of the deeper positions that we had, and we had a chance to acquire some more assets. So that's the decision that we made, that coming from Dennis Allen about the trade that sent C.D. Gardner-Johnson up to Philadelphia. Let's get into these cuts because these are the cuts the Saints have made in the last 24 or so hours. Ian Book, one of the more notable names that has been let go, third-string quarterback, obviously candidate to be on the practice squad. Rashid Shaheed, a wide receiver, another pretty notable name that has been let go. He played pretty well, but the Saints are moving on from him, at least for now. Niko Lalos, Taco Charlton, Derek Kelly round out that batch of cuts. Josh Andrews has been let go, as well as Dai'Jean Dixon. Derek Schweiger as well, an offensive lineman, has been released. Jordan Jackson, Kirk Merritt, Damarcus Fields, Nephi Sewell, and Lucas Krull. I know a lot of y'all are going to be disappointed about Krull. Certainly a fan favorite, a UDFA tight end out of Pittsburgh. But if the Saints didn't carry 5 tight ends, his chances of making this team were nearly impossible. Eric Wilson, Nick Martin, J.P. Holtz also have been let go, as well as Vincent Gray. John Bostic might be the biggest name that was let go today, as well as Chase Hansen. Chase played pretty well in the preseason, but the Saints are also moving on from him. Albert Hudgens, in another roster move, he has been placed on IR. Kawan Baker placed on the suspended list. Earlier in camp, he was given a 6-game suspension. He goes on the suspended list. They will certainly reevaluate his status 6 weeks into the regular season. What move do you disagree with? What move did the Saints make today? Whether it was a cut, whether it was letting someone on the roster that you don't think should be on this roster, go down. What move do you disagree with that Mickey Loomis and the Saints made today? Go down in the comments section and chime in. Obviously, a bittersweet day for a lot of folks in the NFL. A lot of people seeing their football dreams kind of come to an end, at least for now, but others maybe weren't expecting to make the team. That did make the team. No surprises here, though, at the quarterback position. Jameis Winston going to be QB1. Andy Dalton going to back him up. You don't see Ian Book there. He was released, as we mentioned. Saints running backs. We take a look at this position. Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, Dwayne Washington, Tony Jones Jr. Those are going to be your 4 running backs with Prentice as the fullback. Wide receiver room looks like this. So they opt to carry 6 wide receivers. Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Marquez Callaway, Jarvis Landry, Traquan Smith, Deontay Hardy, the wide receivers. Now, a lot of y'all wanted Dixon, Merritt, some talented younger running backs. They don't make the cut here. Saints just going with 6 running backs. And because the Saints had just so much depth at that position, really in a UDFA, it was going to be a long shot for them to make this roster. But I'm hopeful that they will find a way to keep some of those guys on the practice squad as we move on to the offensive line. So the Saints rocking with 9 offensive linemen: James Hurst, Andres Pete, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Ryan Ramczyk going to be your starters. Trevor Penning, it's going to be interesting to see what they opt to do with him. He might go on IR, which would open up a roster spot. Throckmorton, Young, Kidd are your backup offensive linemen. Now, who should have made the team on offense? We just rolled through the entire Saints offense. Who should have made this football team that did not make it? And looking on Saints Twitter, a lot of y'all think Kirk Merritt should have made this football team. But go down, chime in. Who should have made this football team? while you're down there, like this video if you hate the Atlanta Falcons, because we're in a sub battle right now at Falcons Day. We have more new subs than Falcons Day this week. Let's bury these guys, man, just like the Saints are going to bury the Falcons in week 1, right? So go down, subscribe to the channel, help us win this sub battle with Falcons today as we move on to the defense now. Pretty loaded at defensive line. As we know, Onyemata, Jordan, Tuttle, Davenport, those are going to be your starters. You're going to carry 5 backups, Street, Roach, Granderson, Peyton Turner as well, going to be the backup defensive lineman on this team week 1. Moving on to the linebackers, to be honest, I was a little bit surprised by some of the Saints' moves here today. They have opted to keep Dow and Bond instead of Bostic and Hansen. I thought that could have gone either way. They opt to, obviously they're going to start Warner, Davis, and Ellis, but I was pretty surprised about Bostic getting cut. They're going to carry 5 linebackers, at least for now. Moving on to the corners, this room has obviously changed pretty significantly today, and you don't see C.J. Gardner-Johnson there. That's going to take some getting used to. Yeah, Saints fans kind of been in shambles today about that. But Bradley Roby, certainly a guy that's going to come in and do a decent job replacing him, at least we hope. Alante Taylor-Williams going to be your backup corners there, carrying 5 corners on this team. Also 5 safeties, which is a little bit surprising. Dan Sorensen is going to make this football team. Marcus Maye, Tyrann Mathieu going to be starting there. Evans and Gray round out the Saints safety depth chart list. What's the biggest surprise move that the Saints made today? Go down in the comments section. Nothing like super shocking, but Bostic getting cut was pretty big as well. It was pretty surprising, I should say. Obviously, a lot of y'all might be down there saying the most surprising move that they made outside of the 53-man roster was, the trading C.J. Gardner-Johnson to Philadelphia. Again, the Saints in that trade getting a 5th-round pick in 2023 and a 6th-round pick in 2024. They sent a 7th-round pick in 2025 with C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's finish up here with special teams. Will Lutz is back. Love to see it. He's been looking good. Blake Gillikin going to be your starting punter. Zach Wood, the long snapper on this team. So good to see Lutz back. It's going to be huge, and we saw last year when the Saints just didn't really have any consistency at that position. It certainly makes an impact in close games down the stretch. Type stay golden for a shout-out because producer Trace Gerard gave you guys a new nickname, the Golden Gang. So I want to see the Golden Gang down in the comment section. Type stay golden for a chance at a shout-out on a future show. Again, like this video if you hate the Atlanta Falcons because we got to beat the Dirty Birds in week 1.